my name is Cordero, and this is my latest submission to Piano Book. It's a viola. Now, I know that stringed instruments are among the most sampled instruments that you can find, but what I find missing from them oftentimes is a certain imperfection, the thing that makes it sound like they're being played by a human. So I've been trying to find a way to capture that humanity. For those of you who downloaded Micah's Choir, the very first submission that we made to Piano Book, you may have noticed that there were some breaths that were left in there, and there are little bits of vocal fries left in the samples. These are sounds that are usually taken out, but we figured that a way to make sampling sound much more realistic and much more to have a better connection with the samples is to leave those human elements in there. It's an often overlooked detail in choir libraries. In the case of stringed instruments, there are a few details that are often left out that contribute to the realism of the instrument. For example, when you press a note on the fingerboard or release a finger, there's often a little small pluck sound. I'll show you what that sounds like. Or even that small bouncing of the bow when you're playing really quietly. And then also, you'll notice when you're playing, there's often those sympathetic resonances of other strings while you're playing. And even the breath that many players take before they begin to play a note. These are all aspects that contribute to the human aspect of these instruments. And again, with most string libraries, these aspects are often overlooked, and in fact, they're even cleaned out and purged from the samples on purpose. So I decided to actually cherish those sounds and include them and feature them. This instrument here is still a work in progress, and I'm still experimenting with it, but I wanted to submit a prototype to Piano Book. Now, this doesn't have a ton of samples, but there is a humanity to it that I think you'll appreciate. So I've included 4 versions of this instrument. The first one is the one that I opened with, which is the sustain patch. What I would like for you to notice are those details that I mentioned before. As you can see, in the same way that when you play a note and release a note, there's that little sticky pluck sound. Those are retained here as on note and release note triggers. And then there's also that really, really quiet bow sound. With this particular patch, I have the keyboard split into 3 sections, each section being panned a little bit differently to simulate that of a trio. I also included my favorite impulse response reverb, but you can take that out because these samples were recorded bone dry, so you can even put your own reverb. Next up, I have a legato patch. Now, this is simulated legato, and it's a script developed by the contact scripting legend Big Bob. And there's a lot of great features in it, but I tried to simplify it as much as possible. So this is what the legato sounds like. There's also a way for you to be able to switch the articulation or the type of legato. You can assign this particular slider here to 4 different modes. So you have sustain, then you have a sort of bowed legato, and then you have a fingered legato, which is what I demonstrated just a second ago. And then there's also a portamento mode. So I'm going to give you a demonstration of how these all sound together. And again, this particular slider is MIDI assignable. Right now I have it assigned to CC11. Then I have 2 more patches. One is a simulated violin and one is a simulated cello. These are still using the same viola samples, however, through some EQ and some other convolution magic, they kind of emulate the sound of a violin and cello. So I'll give you a demonstration of that. That's about it for the main features. There is another tab on each patch that allows you to adjust some of the legato scripting settings. It's a little intense. Let me show that to you. So in here, there's a lot of parameters that you can adjust, such as the crossfade time between samples, how fast they crossfade. It's a little overwhelming, but if you're brave enough, you can dive in there and kind of create your own settings. Anyway, this is still a work in progress, and if you like the direction that this is going in, do leave a review. Give me some ideas about what other features this should have. As I said, there aren't that many samples in this. I'm actually going to go back and re-record everything and probably sample everything chromatically. And my music partner and I, Micah, the one who we sampled for his voice choir, we're in the process of creating some other instruments, including a legato vocal patch. So if that's something that you're interested in, just give this page a follow. We'll keep you posted on that. And if you like the direction that all of this is going in, not at all required, but if you leave a tip, it's greatly appreciated. And in fact, if you do leave a tip, if we ever decide to release these instruments commercially, we'll just give them to you free of any additional charge. So that's about all I have for now. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this instrument.